Hi, everyone. Welcome to Realfine Hotline. I'm Ashley Kane, and today we are going to be interviewing Mr. Chris. Um, Now, I want to kind of get into like how we even met and what attracted our energies to each
Okay,
other.
I have questions about this
Well,
too. So, but go ahead.
okay, so first, so I saw you a few times at the gym in general, just like on the little stretch machine that I like to use.
hmm
But we never said anything to each other. But one day, which was like recent, like a few weeks ago, I saw you doing the tapping method, getting your lymphatic system
Yeah.
activated. I specialize in the lymphatic system and studying, holistic medicine, all natural medicine, all the above. So I felt like when I saw you do that, I was like, oh my goodness, I've never seen anyone do this. He knows exactly what he's doing and like what I do on a daily basis. Like, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? So yeah, so if you don't mind, like what were you doing? I know what you were doing, but if you
Um,
don't mind explaining that.
it was for. I just had an energy drink, and I should not be drinking energy drinks. Like I understand the problems with them, but I do not want the cortisol that was, staying, you know, associated with high caffeine and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So I had an energy drink that morning, and I was doing the cortisol tapping of the face and the shoulder and the areas associated with
Yeah.
TikTok wisdom. Like
Yeah.
that, I remember.
Where your nodes are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't remember all of them, but because I went to school for some of it, but like I said, TikTok wisdom, you can find anything you want there.
Mine is YouTube University.
Yeah.
Like if someone's like, "Oh, what school did you go to?" I'm just kidding. No, But anyways, go ahead. Yeah.
But yeah, and I had a question to ask you about this because
Yes.
right before you showed up, and the manager of the gym, I don't know if you know him or
What
not,
does
but
he look like? Because I
he's
don't know which one.
he's short hair, like a
Is he
little bit
Mexican?
taller than me, like a white guy.
Oh
And I
no.
met him once, but he was in the chair you came to, and I was bawling my eyes out.
Oh,
Like
Nick.
I think so.
Yeah, it's kind of blonde-ish,
Yeah,
but reddish.
yeah.
Him, yes, because he's always on there too.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
he sat next to me, and at the time I was bawling my eyes out because, and I don't want to get into the politics or anything, but that will have a huge um, distraction for my charity work overseas,
Got it.
and it was
Yeah.
it
You were
is
just
going
full
to
of
affect it.
emotion.
So
Yeah.
yes, and that's when you sat down a few minutes later, and you started talking to me, and I go, the manager was just here, and now oh, attractive woman is sitting next to me
Thank
talking to
you.
me. Now, how often does that happen at the gym? And I didn't know if he sent you in to talk to me or
Oh, really?
see if
Oh,
I
you
was
thought it was like
okay
a
or
what is it
anything.
called? Like a ploy or
Yeah, to see
yeah.
if this guy was dangerous because I'm
Yeah,
bawling my eyes
no,
out in
no, I never have even spoken to Nick
the chair. Okay,
besides a hi when he checks us in or when he signed us
that's what I've been
up.
wanting to ask you.
No, I have no clue. No.
So yeah, but moving on from that, the tapping, and I learned a lot of that from. I knew it from massage school, but I got reintroduced to it from TikTok, pretty much.
Yeah.
So,
So, what first got you into natural medicine, studying, just holistic, healthy lifestyle, you
well,
know?
one, it was originally to pay for college,
Okay.
but um, and pay for college and massage women all the time. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I could have done.
Mm.
But I've been through the Western medicine, and I've had plenty of surgeries, and I do not want to be on medicine anymore.
Yeah. What
Western
symptoms were
medicine.
you experiencing that made you come to that conclusion like this is not for me?
I was a pill addict, like hardcore pain pill addict.
Yeah.
And that's the first time I've told that in an open setting like this,
No,
but I
thank you for being
appreciate it.
and by the way, be as vulnerable as you want. There
Yeah.
is no filter on my end, you know what I mean? And yeah, share whatever you want. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Of course.
But everybody that knew me back then knew, like
Yeah.
they saw it go downhill. And
This is part of your story, who you are, where you come from, all
oh
the
yeah,
above.
it gets good. I think it gets good. I mean,
Okay.
this is my story, but I was the downfall was I was the manager, I was the pool director at one of the hotels in the Las Vegas Strip. And the night before I went out, I got pills that weren't the ones I usually got.
Mm.
And I was trashed when I got to work. And
Do you know what they are now? Like, if you were to hindsight look back, do you?
yeah, they were a pain medicine that was not the, it wasn't a codeine medicine. It was some codeine, but it was more they sell in California
Mm.
to get, my minimal codeine or whatever. Either way, I don't want to deal with them anymore. I don't even
Yeah.
care what they are anymore. This past life. I like to say it's the Chris before in a former life.
Yeah.
But I showed up at the pool with everybody. I hired all these kids, all these lifeguards. The cocktail. I was a fraternity guy. I hired sorority girls from that I knew, and they saw me walk out. Apparently, I haven't heard from them the entire story, but I walked out, and I guess I looked trashed. I went to my office, sat there, and apparently I had a trash can on my foot. I don't know how I stepped in a trash can,
Yeah.
and I walked through. I was out of my mind.
Yeah.
This is news to me. And security came and got me, took me down to go get drug tested, and that was my last day working at that high-end hotel on the
Mm-hmm.
strip that I worked at. And that was a downfall. That was the breaking point that got worse before it got better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, after getting fired, what was that? So that was like your aha moment, right?
Almost.
What was your aha moment?
Okay, so a couple years later, I worked at a job where that medication that I was taking was easily accessible. I could buy it from everybody. And that was the type of industry I was in. Um, I took a work car and I went to go get medicine one day. Like, my dealer did not have it. And so I took my work car and I was trashed. I slammed it into a wall at Sam's Town
Oh wow.
in the parking garage.
Yeah.
And that's all I remember from that. Nobody knew where I was for a couple days. Uh, um, I was in a coma, uh, shattered my hip,
This was that accident
that
that you
accident.
previously told me about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, I had a collapsed lung, so I put a tube in my chest to inflate that again. I had CPR done on me,
Mm-hmm.
so I had all my ribs broken. Um, my favorite of them all is the brain injury, the TBI. I had to learn how to use this whole side again.
Yeah.
Um, I like to explain this a little bit if
Yeah.
you want to
No.
hear this.
Do explain. Please explain.
The best way I can explain a brain injury feeling is like you're you're laying on the couch with your husband and you're you just notice your leg falls asleep.
Oh, that's every night.
Okay, but before you wiggle that toe to find out how far up the numbness is, that's what the brain injury felt like, all the way on
Mm.
my right side. And I was like this for a while, and I had to learn to walk again. But I had so much bone growth that I couldn't move my hip for a long time. So this was all atrophied.
Mm.
And I got to go to, I gotta say, I gotta give you a shout out to, it's called INCEP, NCEP, Nevada Community Enrichment Program, I think it's called,
Okay.
where I did, for brain
Like rehab.
therapy.
Yeah.
Uh, occupational therapy
Okay.
and physical therapy,
Yeah.
plus that. And so I got to do months of that, like sitting in a wheelchair, going all the way across town from Henderson to the community college campus
Mm-hmm.
on the other side of town. And my aha moment is coming up ready.
Yeah.
So, I got paired up with one gentleman, and he suffered from strokes,
Okay. Yeah.
from, I guess,
I've
from
worked with
drug
clients in the
use. Yeah.
past with stroke. Yeah.
And we were doing the pegboard, class. Him and I
Mm-hmm.
paired up. This goes on for a couple weeks. We were paired up for this, and we were at class early one day before our instructor got there, and we were talking about our injuries. Like he could only use one side of his body. He was in a wheelchair that had a remote control, and he's like, "I'm never gonna walk again." I'm stoned off of pain meds right now, right then, and now I'm getting them for free.
Yeah.
And he was wishing he was in my position. I'm in the worst position I've ever been in. And we were going through our injuries. And he's like, I wish I could run on the beach again. And little things that he's never going to do. And we started class. And the day went on. Next day, I was late. I was aggravated. I was late to class. My bus was 2 hours long, bouncing on my wheelchair
Mm-hmm.
all the way to this course. And they pulled me aside. And they said he passed away that night before. And I'm like, this guy, I don't even remember his name.
Yeah.
He wanted to be in my position. And
Did you feel guilty?
I felt an obligation to change my life.
Yeah.
Like, this guy wanted to do so much, and he did. He didn't get to. So that's how I felt about that. And that took a couple of years for it to sink in.
Yeah.
And so from that point, I started making a list of things I wanted to do. Like, my first big one was walk again. Like, I didn't know if I was going to be able to
And
walk
by the
again.
grace of God,
Yes.
you walked on
And
here.
so I ran the Disney Marathon. And I could check that off the bucket list. And a lot more other things I got to do too.
Yeah. If you had to name the top 3 bucket list achievements that you have already done, what were those top 3? So number 1 being walking. So at least 2 more.
Run a marathon.
Okay.
It was a half marathon, but it was a Disney
Hey,
marathon.
it was running.
And it was more
Only
than,
time I run is downstairs to eat.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
But travel.
Yeah.
Like, I never got to do that. And explaining that, I was learning to walk again. When I was learning to walk again, I walked to the local casino near me.
Okay.
And I would sit down, play poker for a little bit. And for a little while, I kept looking at this lady. She was never playing, but she looked familiar. And my brain injury, I was not connecting that I really knew this woman. She's like, walks up and she goes, "You know what? Is your name Chris?" Oh, yeah, you look familiar to me. Like, what, how do we know each other?
Yeah.
It's like, you're best man at my daughter's wedding.
Oh.
Like, okay. Click, click, click. And she says, well, this is my partner, Jim, and he was in the Marines. He had asbestos disease. It was terminal. It's going to take a long time. Slow. But we get to go to Europe every year. And you played baseball with my son-in-law. Like, yeah. Would you like to come teach baseball in Poland?
Wow. That's so beautiful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's how my traveling thing. So next on the bucket list was get to tell this story, my story, to people, especially kids.
Yeah.
Because I think mental health is one of the biggest neglects in this country.
Sure
And
is.
I've seen it with kids all over the place.
Yeah. Do you see more, if you had to say like age range, do you see more like, I would say maybe like 10 and under, or preteens, teenagers? Like what age would you say you see more of the mental health aspect?
The beginning of puberty,
Okay.
when changes, they wouldn't know this, but they're used to being how they are at that age.
Exactly, yeah.
And then all of a
Especially for
sudden,
girls, I think the average age is 13.
right?
And I'm not gonna lie, this might be TMI, I don't care. I was almost 18 when I went through puberty.
No, no
So I was a
problem.
late bloomer. So all
Yeah.
the things that the girls that, middle school and high school were going through, I'm like, I have no clue what you're talking about. I'm like another boy. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, no, women, girls at 13, like their bodies
Yeah.
change, your boobs, your sex drive, like all of that. Like,
Absolutely.
you
And,
don't know what's going on.
I don't think parents are taught how to cope with that.
Yeah.
I mean, there should be a class.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be that long. You need to talk to your kids. And,
That could be a class we come up with in the future.
well, I showed you the speech I gave.
Oh,
over there,
yes, yes.
and I offered them to let them come over and talk to me if they're having issues, because just speaking
Yeah.
to kids that are having tendencies,
Yeah.
of harming themselves, that is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Needs to be talked about.
And like I was sharing with my husband, I'm like, everything is science. So even though that's the mental health aspect, that's also holistic too, like meaning like internally. There's something going on internally,
Mm-hmm.
and it's now manifesting to whatever you're going through now. So
Absolutely.
say there's a hormonal imbalance, and now I just am so depressed one day, because being a woman myself, I mean, I don't know if I would call it depression, but say you're going through PMSing. You're a 13-year-old girl. You have no clue what you're going through.
Right.
You don't know why you're moody. You don't know why you're crying all the time. You don't know why you're stomping up the stairs saying, I hate you, mom. Like, you don't know why. Oh, whatever it may be, like, you don't know. There's something internally going on. There's a root. You know what I mean? And this is the cause. And so if you don't get to the root of the issue internally, it's going to manifest externally, period, regardless if it's on your skin, your words, the way you think, like everything.
And we talked about this briefly the other night, but I think everybody should see a therapist.
Yes.
If
God and therapist
if
goes hand in hand.
And if I'm going to get into a relationship and it's going to be serious, her and I are going to see a therapist.
Yeah.
Because
now, sorry, side note, would you prefer your future partner to also be within the holistic natural medicine route, or what would your preference be in that?
not necessarily, but
Okay.
I have standards. Like,
of course, you should.
Okay, this might sound really bad, but I like massage.
Yeah.
I am not going to date a woman who has fingernails out to here, because she's not going to work on me. That's little things. But
in my opinion, TMI, but first of all, if I was a man, I wouldn't, or being a woman, would never want to be with a woman who has those long nails anyways, because it's like hygiene wise.
Yes.
How are you wiping and cleaning yourself to a certain degree that is
that was a visual I didn't know.
hey, somebody has to say it.
Right.
And that somebody's gonna be me. But yeah, it's one, it's not attractive.
Right.
I'm sorry. Sorry, ladies, if that is like what. Anyways, that's my opinion. It's like a butt. Everyone has one, but go ahead.
But I went to massage school and I've worked on thousands of hours. I did some calculation, thousands of hours, and I want my partner to reciprocate.
Yes.
And I think that is a
Dress is
huge
all
thing.
twisting. Uh-huh.
That if you and your partner are not working on each other and talking to each other, this is alone time. This is a time
Yeah, to me that's
away from
very
the
intimate.
phones. Yes.
I've had to teach my husband what I do so I can reap the not just physical benefits, but the emotional, the that energy transfer of like,
Yes.
yeah, I believe in all. Yes, and
That,
people don't understand that,
no, not at all. And
or a
I
lot of
think
people.
everybody's closed off, and the first thing they do, and I've witnessed this, is like with kids, they get nervous, they look at the phone because this is a comfort zone.
Yeah,
That needs to stop.
yeah. Growing up, we didn't have that, so
Yeah.
I mean,
And you just
what do you? We had
you're
Tamagotchis.
yeah. But if you're uncomfortable in a moment, you're just kind of standing there looking around,
Yeah,
not something that goes to this.
yeah,
And I'm not changing the world or anything, but I think the less time on the phone is possible for everybody.
yeah, yeah. Now I want to backtrack about from your accident.
Okay.
So being in the holistic natural medicine field,
Mm.
what transitioned you from wanting to stop Western medicine to get into the holistic
Well,
side of things?
Western medicine is not fix it
Yes, I
medicine.
believe it's put a band-aid on it, and
And they'll
yes.
come back next month for
Yep.
more pills.
And you're going to keep pulling your money out and giving it to
And
whatever these band-aids are.
right. And I think this is more powerful than a lot of
It
people think.
is your mind.
And
Yes.
you can get past it.
Yes.
And I will not lie to you, I ache. And I wake up every morning with my hands like this, from doing massage.
Yep.
But that's kind of a life hack for me. If I'm like this in the morning, I feel like I'm still in my 20s
Mm-hmm.
because I was a massage therapist for so long.
Yeah.
I stretch it out. Okay, thank you. Put my feet on the ground. Put my feet in the dirt because I'm big into grounding and uh, along those types of medicine.
Yeah.
Like you can heal yourself.
Yeah. What are some things as far as what you tell yourself, if you don't mind sharing, as far as like for me, every
Mm.
day, multiple times a
Mm.
day, I'm, as I mentioned before, I'm always telling myself, I am happy, I am healthy, I am healed.
Mm.
Because as I mentioned to you before, I unfortunately experienced having carpal tunnel. And I'm like, of course, that's nerve damage. And I don't feel like there was a time where I'm like, aha,
Mm.
I know when it happened. I think it was the period. I know it was a time where I was the most unhealthy internally, as far as spiritually, my thoughts,
Mm.
even my words. And I'm very into like words are powerful. And it was like I was manifesting that nerve damage,
Mm.
you know what I mean? And not putting myself first and, giving all of myself to my clients and my work and my business that again, you're touching people, that energy transfer.
Yes.
So all that negative energy that's transferring into my body from, no offense, but I have to be honest, half my clientele I didn't even like as people. And
Mm.
having to touch them and hear them complain all the time about their personal life while I'm trying to help heal you was
Yeah.
actually destroying me inside.
Yeah.
So taking that step back and even doing my own at-home remedies and never having surgery, never going to the doctor. I had a client who was a hand doctor, and she was even like, because she was coming to me for, healing on her for her internal healing, make long story short. And she was even telling me, like, I wouldn't go the surgery route if I was you.
Yeah.
Like, so do your research, do what you have to do. And that's exactly what I did. And a year and a half here, or a year and a half later, here I am. Like, you
Right.
know what I mean? And do I experience some slight like stiffness? Yeah. But I used to wake up in excruciating pain. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that's something that you experience as far as like you were just so tired of look, I'm tired of putting a band-aid over what I'm going through. I need to get to the root. If that means I have to step away from massage to heal myself, holistically. I know a lot of people are into like herbs, and me personally, I'm very into really just speaking to myself. You know what I mean? Just like you said, the mind is very powerful. Like, I know I've healed myself without having to do any Western medicine, without having to pop any pills or potions. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So, I mean, how about you?
Well, I agree completely.
Yeah.
And it took a long time to realize that, but I have an app that's I am app, I am strong, I am, read some of that stuff. Say it in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, I'm of the age, and we talked about this in the 80s, seeing therapy was, oh, there's something wrong with that kid.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with that guy. Now I suggest that completely. Like, how do you know what's going on with yourself if you can't explain it to somebody?
Yeah.
And write it down, write journals or whatever.
Yeah.
Diary. I don't care what people call it these days.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not offended if you want to call it. Like, are you writing in your diary? Yes. Would you like to read the page?
My sister stole my diary when I was 8.
Oh.
And showed it to my parents, and I got in trouble because I wrote some inappropriate things about a couple little boys at school. I know this is a little side tangent, but yeah, if you're watching Missy, whatever.
Well,
but yeah, I'll never forget that.
On the side tangent,
that was like 30 years ago.
I read a girlfriend's diary. Like, I didn't know what was going on with her. Like,
Got it.
We that's what set it off. Like, why are we not? This was my first girlfriend in my life. Long-term girlfriend, like first one, and I did not know where we were. And I read part of her diary, and I freaked out.
What did it say?
Well, she was like, I don't know if if we're gonna be together much longer, and I apologize. I don't want to say her name, but I apologize.
If you're watching, you know who you are.
That's an invasion of privacy. I am sorry.
Even though you invaded her privacy.
Yes.
But hey, the irony.
Yeah, right. I hope you're doing well. But it is insight that you're putting on paper, and you should be vulnerable.
Yeah.
If you look at my journal, like, I have a lot of that in there too. But if you can't write it down, how are you writing it down is half the problem. Half the problem solved. And you can work from there.
Yeah.
At least that's my opinion. And I've heard that several times.
Yeah. It's step one, recognizing and acknowledging that there's a problem. So the fact that you can transfer what's going on internally onto a piece of paper, you get a pen, notepad, whatever, and you write that like that's step one. You know what I mean? Now, what you want to do with it after, of course, you need to be proactive about it. Like, you can't, like, the paper can't just know all your emotions and your feelings. But yet, when it comes to speaking that outwardly, to an individual, whether it be, not everyone has parents or siblings or friends, but you can have a therapist. You can go to a therapy. Right. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
But also goals. What else? You can put a lot of things on. I got a bucket list that is 3 pages long right now.
Yeah.
And I have some amazing ones checked off on that bucket list.
Yeah.
But it did not occur to me until my friend passed away that I'm not here forever.
Yeah.
I got things I want to do. And I know he's watching me. I don't care what anybody thinks about their religion or whatever. I do it for him too.
Yeah.
And that's a little bit more motivation.
So even though you don't remember his name, do you remember if he was into like holistic, natural, medicine?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was not.
Got it. Okay.
From what I understood from our brief conversations, at one time he was a drug addict.
Okay.
And that's where he was getting these seizures. He had bubbles in his blood. You know what I'm talking about? Uh, air pockets
Mm.
in his circulatory system,
Okay.
or whatever it was. He's having strokes
Yeah.
and mini strokes. And that the day before I met his mom, she flew in from back east, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm glad he got to see her before he left. But yeah, I there are other people in my life that I get to do things for. Like I get to travel a lot with people who have MS. Right?
Yeah.
They would love to be able to run like I get to do.
Yeah. Growing up, which is so crazy you mentioned this because I was, I don't know if it was today or yesterday that I was thinking about my old pastors growing up. And it was a couple, Pastor Vicky, Pastor Tommy. And Tommy was in a wheelchair from the time I met him as a little girl, baby, moved to California with my family, dad being military and all, but I never saw him get up. Unfortunately, he passed, and he was in a wheelchair all those years that I've known him, and he had MS. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think I was thinking about this again yesterday, today, whenever it was, where I'm just like, oh man, like, I wonder if I could have helped him,
Right,
knowing what I know now, and
right.
you know what I mean. But go ahead, sorry.
No, but
Yeah,
it continued from there. Like I at the therapy that I was going to, there were a lot of people there that were in wheelchairs. A lot of them weren't gonna walk again,
yeah.
and um, a lot of them. And I remember the first steps I took out of the wheelchair, and everybody there were sitting there in the wheelchairs clapping
I
for
was gonna
me.
say, were they
Yeah,
clapping? They
and
were
like
happy. Yeah,
I don't remember a lot of
like,
moments back then. I still like to blame the brain injury, but I need to quit blaming the brain injury.
mhm.
And there were a lot of them clapping, and the few that could stand up, and I'm walking with the
It's so
walker, and
beautiful.
I'm just shuffling my feet, you know. But it was the first time I got to stand up, and one more surgery later to remove bone, I can move my hip high enough to get up onto a curb. So moments you remember.
Yeah, yeah. So how do you today, like in your life, just on a daily basis, how are you? Um, what's the word? Not inputting, but like when it comes to like just holistic healing in general. Like, say you were to wake up today or tomorrow with a migraine, what are you gonna do?
Well, one, I think talking to yourself, what you say to yourself,
Yeah,
is number one.
I know.
I can, I can, I can account an ex-girlfriend for giving me that kind of feedback.
Yeah,
Because I used to be pretty negative, even though I was on this journey of feeling better. I was still talking down to myself,
yeah.
like, and I was uh, the butt of my own jokes a lot of times.
Got it. No, was that a coping? Because so this is the ex therapist in me.
Yeah,
So was that your way of coping, kind of like making fun of yourself in order to kind of heal?
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
everybody saw me limping around. Like my
yeah.
limp used to be really bad. I got
Mhm.
stopped by a cop one time walking home from the gym I used to go to, because he saw me limping and thought I was drunk. And it there has been a progression with this.
Yeah,
So, but talking to yourself is number one.
yeah.
That is the first thing you need to change, in my opinion.
Self talk. Yeah.
So,
What are what are, if you don't mind sharing, what are some things that you say to yourself?
I can do this.
Yeah,
I, this is not out of my reach.
yeah,
Okay. If my plan today, what is my goal to do this? Mainly, I can do this, and there's not much else. I am who I am, and that is enough.
yeah,
And I say that every night, 3 times.
yeah.
I don't, I don't want to be rude to people, but I really don't care if you think it's woo woo or not.
No,
But
I know a lot
it,
of people, but the thing is, I feel as if a lot of people who think things are woo woo are like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
not manifesting anything negative towards people, but God forbid something happened to you. And we need to get to the root of what your issue is. But you think these holistic ways of doing things or these natural ways of doing things are woo woo. Well, they're not going to be woo woo when you need them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be more woo woo when, and I'm not saying all, so because I am, I think like this. There are certain things, yes, you do need the Western medicine. Your knee pops out.
Yeah.
You can't just, my knee is back in place. My knee is back in place. Like, there are certain things that,
Right.
sir, no, you're bleeding and your knee is out of like your body. Okay, you need the Western medicine. You need
Emergency
a surgery.
medicine.
You need,
Yes.
like, you know what I mean? But if there's internal conditions that you're going through, because I'm very big on, like, cancers are created.
Yes.
It's as disease, it's disease in the body. There's something, whether it's your thoughts, your environment, your diet,
Diet.
your lifestyle, that's creating this cancer. And that could be a whole nother episode itself, because unfortunately I lost both of my parents from cancers.
Mm-hmm.
Two separate cancers that, in my opinion, hindsight looking back, being their daughter and knowing um personality traits, and just I won't get it too much into it, but just I feel as if it could have been prevented.
Yes.
Because, of course, on a daily basis, this is what I'm preaching to my clients. Like what I do, preventative care. You don't wait till you're sick and dying and desperate for care.
Right.
You can take preventative precautions to not get to
Oh yeah.
all these cancers that are manifested internally.
Yeah.
Because, as you know, you could look at someone not even know they have cancer, unless in society they have a look of, okay, they don't have any more hair on their face, no
Mhm.
hair on their head, and they look like frail, and okay. But there's people probably at the gym that we see every day who have cancer. We don't know. There's no look.
Mhm.
Yes, there's that society, you know what I mean? Like that, whatever, but there's no look. Just like autism, you know what I mean? There could be someone, and I believe none of us are neurotypical people. I feel like
Mhm.
we all are on the spectrum,
Yes.
but autism doesn't have a look. So, what does
Right.
cancer look like,
Right.
externally, you know?
When you were talking about autism, when I lived in California, I worked for uh, uh, I guess you could call it a halfway house.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Because when I was ABA, applied
yeah.
behavioral analysis, and a lot of my clients, 80% of them males,
Yeah.
I guess they call it group home.
Yeah. They're on the
Yeah,
spectrum somewhere.
exactly. Yeah, but more so high functioning.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what yeah. Anyways, go ahead.
And I would give them their medicine
Mm-hmm.
and um,
Did you have to get med qualified too?
oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what I had to do. Yeah, got it.
But
That's funny. Yeah.
I left it. I've been threatened, by people who live there, and
I know.
you know how it goes. And I, I always thought that they could work harder on this if they did this themselves. If they sat down and actually did not look at their phones,
Yeah.
did not watch TV, did not go and play video games all day.
Yeah.
You sit down, and I'm a huge fan of meditation. If you can, I know this one quote. I'm ashamed I don't know who it's from, but
And by the way, most people don't know meditation is just being familiar with yourself.
that's all. Quiet. You can.
Yeah.
Man's problems are created because he cannot sit in a room quietly by himself. I know I butchered the quote somewhere.
Yeah.
But it's along those lines. Like,
yeah.
if you can't just sit there and be quiet and peaceful with yourself, then that's something you need to look at.
Mm-hmm.
And talking to therapists, that's somewhere that needs to be done in that point.
Yeah. It's just like as I've gotten older, I've recognized that even within myself, which I think it's easy to observe this and recognize this from others around me, is I used to use people as my distractions, but in those moments, I did not know that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
So I would, which is so crazy because I would go out by myself sometimes. I would take myself to dinner.
Oh
I'd get
yeah.
all dolled up and go, you know, but if I hindsight look back, I'm like, okay, I think I was trying to convince myself I didn't need anyone, but yet that's exactly what I was
Mm-hmm.
like. I was kind of being my own hypocrite. You know what I mean? But again, it's kind of like you're not really ready to get help, but you're trying to convince yourself. But deep down inside, you know you really aren't ready.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So my thing was like, okay, I'm just gonna take myself out because I don't need these people. But then later on, like, hey, what's everyone doing? And then the first opportunity I get to go hang out with people, I go take that opportunity.
Oh
But
yeah.
I know it was a void that I was feeling because I didn't recognize what like the again, it all starts within.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
everything is science. So it all starts within. There was something that I was internally missing within myself, but trying to fill, that void by distracting whatever that issue was to others. Like I was attaching myself to others.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's, I guess, fast forward and rewind at the same time, realizing, oh, I just have a lot of abandonment issues.
Yeah.
Losing my mom at a young age, losing family members, having my dad raise us, but had to go back to work after he retired from the military, not seeing him all the time, never missed a basketball game or never missed a football game, baseball game, anything from like me and my siblings. But that emotional connection
Yeah.
is what I was searching for
Yeah.
to fill, you know what I mean, that
I
void internally.
and I really wasn't like this until I went to Europe.
Mm-hmm.
But traveling by yourself is, I think, the best way to get to know yourself. Because
That's what I've heard.
you're stepping out of your comfort zone, and you go to a place where you don't speak the language. Like, what do? You're not gonna sit in the corner and cope. Like
You're forced.
yeah, and push yourself at the edge of your comfort zone, and that's what I like to do. That's why my workout is kind of weird. Like, I guess I don't use the weights or anything at the gym. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I just it's a lot of science I use at the
Yeah.
and like I explained it a few times to people, but it's all science that I work at the gym, or TikTok wisdom, or
YouTube
massage therapy.
University.
Yeah, massage education.
Yeah.
That's what I use. It's more than just.
Yeah.
I might set some people against me, but going 1 to 10, 3 or 4 times over and over again is to me sounds like Einstein's theory uh, of insanity
Got it. Yeah. Doing the same thing over and
over and
over,
over again.
expecting a different. Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is to me. And because I used to do 10 times, I never got any bigger. I hit a limit, and
Yeah.
I'm not
And it also depends on what
right.
your objective. Like, what's your goal?
Right.
You know what I mean?
My
Like,
goal is
yeah.
not to get 5 more pounds.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or 5 more pounds on my bench press or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. It's to be flexible, to be, to be able to move my body in every direction as possible, like anatomy,
Yes.
autonomy.
Yes.
My gait is what I work on the most, and um, it's been a wild ride to me. Like I have a great time at the gym.
Yeah.
That is going out to me. Like,
One thing that I will actually say for myself, which I've noticed, I explained this to you the other day on why I even weigh myself every day.
mm-hmm,
Something I would have never done when I was overweight because I was overweight. friggin' depressed and I would never want to step on the scale. But now stepping on the scale holds me accountable,
Mm-hmm.
which forces me to make the best decisions for my body. Some people, I explain to clients what I do and they're like, oh my goodness, that's crazy. Like, why? Like, why would you do that? But for me, internally, that's my medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, because at my weight, like, again, I explained to you how even in the world of bodybuilding, like, yes, show day, you weigh yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's been what, 7 weeks now since I've competed, stepped on stage at 154. And go around like 156, 158 on this. I won't even say off season because it's just a lifestyle now. This morning weighing in at 157.4. That's 3.4 pounds up from stage weight.
Yeah.
Most bodybuilders I know, and being in this situation or being in this industry, and again, my goal was never, oh, I want to be the best in the world. No, I love competing for
Mm-hmm.
myself. Like, I love being able to see my body change and be healthy and my hormones are in place and all the above, but my medicine is this because when I was, and again, maybe call it a spirit, and it doesn't matter if someone doesn't understand what I'm talking about, but my body, and again, it's not just about a number, but where I'm at right now, because I don't want to get past 160. Like, I know some people are, well, why? You're 5'10, you're tall. Like, but anything past that, internally, I'm not feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
So in the 150s, I feel my best. I get my period every month. That hasn't gone away, like, because a lot of people will be like, oh, like, you know, after you compete, it may take girls months to get their periods.
Right.
No, I got my period, 2-3 weeks before I competed and 2-3 weeks after I competed. So
Mm-hmm.
it is clockwork. And that's very important for a woman, especially my age now. I mean, just being middle age, like, I have clients who go through menopause in their late 20s, early 30s. And again, I think that's a lot of, that's a whole nother episode too. Like,
Yeah.
what we're put, the environment, the foods, the hormones that they're pumping into this food in the States, anyways. But
That is an entirely different episode.
yeah, like, we could make a whole series of just you and I.
I have a hardcore
Yeah,
nose
yeah,
in this in America.
yeah. But yeah, so I can go on a tangent about this. But anyways, yeah. So me weighing myself every morning is my medicine because when I was not weighing myself every morning, I had no weight to keep me accountable. I was eating without being mindful.
Yeah.
There was no intuitive eating.
Yeah.
I would smoke, get the munchies, and then boom, what am I ordering from DoorDash tonight? Where am I going out, this weekend to, if you gave me a box of Krispy Kreme dozen donuts, oh, I would eat that in one sitting.
Oh yeah, I've done that many times.
Just so unmindful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was unhealthy. I was at my biggest. That's when I started internally getting sick, experiencing carpal tunnel. You know what I mean? And down, depressed. Like, it was like the most, me and my husband were traveling like literally every month, every other month, like all these distractions, going on that I know all of this was making me sick because I was not mindful on my inside. Where and what and how do I feel when I'm at my best? And this is me I feel at my best.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And maybe TMI, but like, even my sex drive is fine now. You know what I mean? My
Right.
libido, like, because before I wasn't even paying attention. I was just like how earlier I was talking about, like, when you ovulate, earlier today, you know what I mean? When we were talking about that, like, even ovulation is, it's crazy because I never paid attention to how my body felt when I was ovulating. I was just so focused on the negative aspect and being like, oh no, I feel good. Like, this is a time, again, whatever makes people feel comfortable, like having the most energy to make love with my husband.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like feeling sexy, feeling like like, you know what I mean? Like, so make a long story short, I have not had to pop any type of oral medication or sorry if I pronounce it wrong, opioids.
Yeah.
Yeah, to mask the depression and all that. It's just like, no, I just listen to my body.
Yeah.
Intuitive, literally natural, like listening to my natural, my base, you know what I mean? And being at this base, I feel my best.
Well, getting
And
back to
that's my
diet.
medicine. Yeah.
Well, diet I think is a lot more than what you just eat.
Yeah. Yes.
And
It's what you watch, what you
oh yeah,
listen to.
I don't watch the phone. Like if I'm watching stuff on the phone, it's a lot of positive.
Yeah.
Um,
Changing your phone algorithm too on what
yes,
you watch and what pops up on like social media and all that.
right,
Yeah.
because that is coordinated, and it's doing that for a reason.
Yeah.
And if you go down that tunnel, what do they call it, echo chambers, like you go down an echo chamber of negativity nonstop, that's what you're gonna get fed back to.
Yeah.
And uh, I stay away from that a lot.
Yeah.
At least I try to. I
Were
mean,
you falling victim to social media in the past or watching negative stuff? Because I used to
yes.
watch all the nonsense back on Netflix.
Oh yeah.
I don't even, I think Netflix deleted my account because I stopped paying.
I really don't watch a lot of that stuff anymore.
Yeah.
Like in 2019, I got to travel a lot, like a year round almost. We, uh, my friend who was getting sick, uh, my her partner whose daughter I was best man in a way, we got an RV and we went across the country for a couple months. Then went to Europe, and then came back and went across the country again. And that was incredibly peaceful. I was not
Yeah.
around a TV.
I am so all about peace. Peace is so priceless. People just don't understand. But go
No,
ahead.
you need to be defensive about your peace.
Yes.
If there are people in your life that are causing problems because everybody's going through their
Cut
own
them
issues,
out. Yeah.
I've got family I've cut out.
Yep.
Okay, like they, they're not moving towards a positive direction.
Mm-hmm.
And when you ask about them, you talk to people about this that you're going through, whatever. No, I'll just deal with it, or I'll just drink, or I'll just get hammered, or whatever. I know a lot of those people.
Yeah.
I used to be one of those people.
Yeah.
And I'm the other, in my opinion, I'm the other side of that.
Yeah.
And you cut off people if they're not moving forward.
Yeah. I share this with my husband. I'm like, so how I was telling you about the pain I was experiencing on my right side.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you're big into breath work either.
Oh,
I'm
yes.
now just starting to get into it just because I'm just being more aware of breathing, and
Yes.
most people don't breathe properly in general. You know what I mean? And so I noticed that there are certain relationships recently that I've had to cut off.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't say the moment because that would be very dramatic,
Right.
but I would say within a very short period of time of not even like having that energy in my life, that pain went away. And it was a pain I was experiencing on and off for a year.
Yeah.
And it was just, I don't believe in coincidences. You know what I mean? Because again, when you have negative energy and certain people's intentions aren't pure in your life.
No.
So say you have bad intentions with me and your spirit, you're just hoping, you're praying on my downfall. You know what I mean? Or you're praying, not literally, Lord, I hope she's doesn't succeed. Like, no, but your intentions are not pure for me. I feel like that spirit can enter into my body, and I may not be able to put my finger on exactly what it is, but I'm uneasy. And again, disease or dis-ease in your
Mm-hmm.
body. You know what I mean? But the moment I let that certain spirits go, I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm not experiencing this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So last week, when I felt like I was experiencing again, I'm not gonna lie. That those relationships were coming back into my mind, and I was thinking all the time about these relationships. And that's when I started feeling that pain again.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I sat on the side of my bed. When was it? A few days ago, and breathed, said my, I am happy, I am healthy, I am healed, all the above. And went to sleep the next night, or went to sleep that night, went back, or I'm sorry, went to sleep that night, woke up that next morning and had no pain. And I feel like I had to really, it takes a lot of self awareness to understand, okay, Ashley, when you feel this way, let's reevaluate your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Let's reevaluate, how was your environment this week? Did you enter a new environment? Did you meet someone new? And like, I'm all into that. The woo woo stuff that people
Yeah.
call it woo woo, but I'm like, this is literally like, again, the environment, your diet, your thoughts, it's either all negative
Mm-hmm.
or positive. And if you're feeding that toxic medicine into you, this is now going to manifest into you feeling sick, or you feeling, you get depressed again, or like you know what I mean? Like,
Oh,
so
very
you
much.
have to, you have to be that crazy person talking to yourself in the car.
Yeah.
I cry in the sauna sometimes. And I'm like, oh, maybe someone sees, but maybe they're like, oh, it's probably sweat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Seriously, you
But
know?
and after after 2019, we traveled.
Yeah.
Um, my friend passed away in the end of 2019, which is good because he was wheelbound in a wheelchair, in a motorized wheelchair. 2020 comes, and I started working in assisted living, and uh, that's where a lot of light bulbs start going off for me, and realizing I do not want to be in this situation. And they were eating a diet. It was always cake. Everybody wants sugar, or watching, and I don't want to say anything bad about the TV show, but watching the same ding, 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 ding,
Yeah.
ding. Uh, uh, I'm sorry, Family Feud.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh,
Why was
So,
I thinking this in my head?
but they would just sit there numb to it, and they would just listen to the bells ring and survey, what was,
Survey says.
yes. And I'm not saying it's a bad TV show, but that is something that was numbing them, and they would just watch it for hours and listen to the same music over and over again. It puts them in this time period, and they're in assisted living for a reason. It's
Yeah.
health, disease,
Yeah.
what they're doing to themselves, and it's the same thing over and over again. I like sugar just as much as everybody else does,
Yeah.
but
Not getting paid for this, but like I said, Pink Box Donuts right here
right, it's
down the
delicious.
street.
But I know people who
Man,
live
that
for
maple
it every
bar.
day,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that is not what we're built for. That's not what we're designed for, whatever you
Yeah.
want to call
And think about, because
it.
assisted living, I assume they were older,
Yes.
like elderly. Think about, because I've seen this um, with some of my clients in the past who I would have to do when I did ABA, and unfortunately, say their parents really just could not, take care of them. And so
Right.
they put them into the system, all the above. But sometimes I would have to go and visit their parents and just give them updates and, check in and stuff. And some of these parents were 80 years old,
Mm.
outgoing, they like to hike, they like to travel, they like to get out and move, get some sun, you know, all the above. Some of the happiest people. And you would think, okay, at that age, you probably should be in a walker or using a cane or like some of the, I say this to say, that's their medicine.
Yeah.
That is their natural medicine, getting out, being active. You know what I mean? Which
Absolutely.
results and manifests into being feeling happy and joyful and young and youthful. And you look at them and you're like, you're 80? Just like my mother-in-law, shout out to you, mom. 73 years old. And people were like, she looks like she's like 50 in her 50s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just, you know, likes to walk the dogs every day and go do this, go do that, walk to the store instead of drive to the store. And
Yes.
like, just as young as can be, likes to dance. And I'm over here like, let me stretch right quick before I
Right.
get, so yeah,
But
like,
that's all perspective on what your people are thinking about themselves. And I am around. I've been around people who are all negative all day long, and
pessimistic people.
it is showing in their physique.
Yes.
And I know people who have been negative for a long time, and all of a sudden they get a call. Oh, I got cancer of this.
Yeah.
Well, so you're kind of down the road now. You can't think positive because you already got what you didn't want,
Yeah.
and you complain
Unfortunately,
about it.
that was my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it was too late because as he got older, he actually started being more open to me helping him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I think by then it was just too late. Yeah.
Right.
So he already lived his whole life being pessimistic and, depressed and angry and didn't have any family. Till this day, never met any of his family.
Right.
Nope. Grandpa was alive until I was 13, 14, and never met him. And yeah, so again, and the thing is, externally, my dad was 6'4" in the gym, ex-military, did 20 years,
Mm-hmm.
taught me everything I knew as far as how to lift weights, how to work out, how to stay healthy. So externally, he was healthy because someone could look at him and be like, "Oh, he looks like he could go play in not the WNBA in the NBA." Like if
Mm-hmm.
he obviously was like younger and whatever, but yeah, no, internally
Mm-hmm.
is where I believe in being his daughter and seeing him how he was and whatnot and knowing his tendencies. Like I think he created his cancer. And
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of people are like, oh, he could have caught something back in the military. Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe, but also look at the statistics on military men.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And it's no bueno. So
Right.
yeah, but yeah, I really feel like you can prevent disease naturally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And again, jinx, yeah, it starts in the mind.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And like you said, diet is more than food. It's what you're watching on TV, what you're putting into your brain, what are you um, talking about all day long, and if it's negativity, that I hope I use this word right, reverberates
Yeah.
into your reality.
Yeah.
And I see it. To me, I feel like I see it a lot. Like I got friends who got cancer now, and were they the positive person all the time? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
But you, I don't want to say enlightened because, or if I know this is a punch word for a lot of people, woke, but um, I just think that's you being mindful of yourself.
But unfortunately, in this society, a lot of people lack self-awareness.
Yeah.
So if you're not even aware with self, you can't be aware of what you're even taking in. Like, for example, you know how some people are very easily influenced.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I could be in a room right now full of crackheads, but because I'm very aware of self, no matter how much crack you put in my face
Mm-hmm.
and say, come on, just take one hit.
Yeah.
No, I would never.
No.
I'm not going to judge you. I may have my opinion.
At a time, I would have. I wouldn't say. I don't know if I would say. Wouldn't say I wouldn't. But at a time where I was strung out,
Mm-hmm.
looking for medication, couldn't get it. I want to numb that feeling, and I've never done it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not saying I wouldn't have
Mm-hmm.
back then.
If given the
If
opportunity.
given the opportunity, because I know what being strung out and withdrawals is like from pain medication.
Yeah.
I know it. I knew it religiously, but I'm not on that anymore.
Yeah.
And now I'm thinking more clearly because I'm not tied
Yeah.
to that. That is not having an influence over me.
That's how I feel when it comes to weed.
Yeah.
I was just talking to my husband about this. I have partook in weed, the smoking of weed 3 times in the past almost 6 months.
Yeah.
And I have more clarity.
Yes.
I'm able to maintain my weight. um, I feel not like a zombie waking up, unless I was on prep, because then we're in the gym twice a day. That's
Yeah.
different. My body's sore from lifting,
Right.
but that was my choice. So I also feel like even these medicines that you were, looking for, or these pills that you were looking for, you were using it as your medicine, not all natural. And I hear this all the time with my clients that I see that, say it's a woman, she's 55, she's been trying to lose weight, had 5 kids, now they're all grown. Now she's trying to live a healthy lifestyle. She wants to lose weight. She wants to start getting to self care. She looks older than what she is. And now she's asking me for advice. And, you know, she used to be down and depressed and just popping those pills.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know these chemicals
Right.
that you're putting into your body causing inflammation. Inflammation is what causes sickness and disease.
Right.
You're just masking one symptom that's now creating this next system. Now you have to mask that one. And then now you have to take double the medication because now you have this symptom,
Mm-hmm.
that symptom, this medication, that medication is now manifest. Like it's a cycle.
Right. And
You're not really getting to the root of it.
and not to give Western medicine a really bad rap,
I
but
know. Yeah.
we these medications are working for a symptom and can cause dozens of other symptoms and other issues,
Yeah.
and that's not focused on at all.
Yeah.
Right.
Now you're 50 taking 30 different medications and
Right.
pills that the average person is not a scientist or a doctor. So they don't
Right.
even know what's in this. And they're just like, okay, they're trusting the doctor to.
And now they're reacting together.
Exactly.
And they have no idea what A plus B and C 3 times a week is
Is doing.
is doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I see people all the time who literally will show me like, they'll take their phone and be like, look at what I used to look like 3 years ago.
Mm.
And of course, me having to ask questions and, you know, from their emotional aspect to their physical, you know, um, diet, working out, all the above aspect. Um, the main thing that I hear a lot is, oh, well, that's before I started taking, I was taking this and taking that, or oh, this happened 3 years ago, and now I'm 50 pounds overweight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, and so I asked, like, what in your everyday life has changed? Like, and I hear this all the time too, regardless if they may tell the truth, may not, I don't know, but I have to take their word for it. Like, they're like, I'm doing everything. I'm working out, I'm eating right,
Yeah.
I'm, taking my supplements, I'm this, I'm that. And, but I'm 50 pounds overweight. So, okay, the common denominator of, or the thing that is new in your life that you weren't doing prior to these pictures that you're showing me, when you could wear a bikini at the beach and feel, confident.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing different is you're taking all this medication.
Yes.
You know what I mean? If you're really telling me the truth that you are in the gym,
Mm-hmm.
this is the only thing different.
Yeah.
And the reason why I can say that I feel as if I would like to believe them is because I was there. I was in the gym all the time, but I wasn't, like, I'm sorry. So I was still living externally a healthy lifestyle, but internally, again, my drug was weed.
Mm-hmm.
I would smoke all the time, get the munchies, and now internally I'm putting this bad food in my body, or not even eating all day, only eating 1 to 2 times a day. Maybe that works for people. That wasn't working for me,
Mm-hmm.
because now I went from, being this bikini bodybuilder competitor, 150 pounds, to now I stepped on the scale and was like, oh, 217 pounds. What am I doing different? Oh, the only new thing I'm doing in my life was I was smoking weed.
Mm-hmm.
Something I wasn't doing when, if I was that client showing my, healthcare provider, whatever, oh, look at what I used to look like on stage. Okay, but that's not your situation anymore. So you can't keep living the past. Like, let's focus on the root and what's causing you to look and be overweight and obese now.
Right.
And let's get to the root of it, and let's, be proactive about it and changing it. So again, I say this to say it's all internal. It is all internal. What are you feeding your soul? What are you feeding your mind? You know what I mean?
And what are you numbing yourself with? Because I see that a lot. And you got another word that sparks people's, fire or argumentative is consciousness. Like,
Yeah,
you got to be conscious of what you're doing, and you got to
exactly.
be make a mental note. I'm doing this now. Why am I doing this?
Exactly.
And I think most people go numb through life.
Mm-hmm.
I know so many people are just going day to day. Oh, I get out to work, I
Yeah.
go home. Oh, I'm so tired. What'd you do today? I watched TV when I got home for like 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Well, did that make you mad? Was that
Mm-hmm.
happy? Did you watch the news
Oh, I
all
was
day?
catching up on Love Island. That was my excuse.
Right.
Love Island.
The news
The
is a big
Bachelor.
thing with the people around me. Like,
Yeah.
and they're angry. Why are you angry? Well, this happened. They said this is gonna happen. Well,
Yeah.
okay. Like, did it happen? Is it happening right now? Do you need to be angry at what's going on 4,000 miles that way that you
Yeah.
don't know? Like, if you turned off the TV and did nothing, how would that affect you?
Mm-hmm.
But I think the easiest way to control people is make them angry, and you
Yeah.
can get them to do anything.
Now you have the power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Recently, I think that's happened a lot around in this country.
Yeah.
But I just have an opinion.
Exactly. Like I said earlier, we all have opinions. It's just like a butt. We all
Yeah.
have one.
Yeah.
And I hope everyone wipes theirs
And
clean.
half the time we're all full of shit.
Exactly. Oh, you can say it shit. I'm saying it. Sorry, Lord, but yeah. No,
Right.
seriously. But yeah. So I mean, I think we could wrap this episode up, I feel like this is definitely part one
Yes.
of this. Let's definitely do a part two.
Thank you.
And I would say before we wrap things up, what is one, which I'm very curious from
Okay.
you,
I can't wait to
what
hear it.
is one thing that you would like to, again, let's stay within the holistic health, preventative care, all natural medicine. What is one thing that you could, one piece of advice that you can give the audience that they can take into their everyday life practice from the moment they wake up to the time they go to bed?
Um. Okay. Well, I got a couple things actually.
Okay, yeah,
If you want to change your life, you need to step out of your comfort zone.
yeah,
Okay. And everybody that is doing the same thing over and over again, and why isn't it getting better? Da, da, da. Well, you need to change something. So put yourself at the edge of your comfort zone. Start out with a cold shower. This is a religious thing for me, and I've heard this, and I cannot take credit for it. Like I listen to the Mindset Mentor, like
yes,
Rob Dial. I gotta give him credit for this. Take a cold shower. That'll put you out of your comfort zone. There is nothing wrong. There's nothing gonna hurt you. It's uncomfortable.
mm-hmm.
It's cold. You can clean yourself, and you're not gonna get hurt.
Yeah,
But if you can put yourself in stress,
mm-hmm.
which is going to help you, that cold shower is helping your body, and
Yeah, it's
do
not like
everything
negative stress.
right. Do everything that you need to do. Plus, the cold water is very beneficial for you.
Yeah,
And breath work. You talking about
mm-hmm.
breath work? I do my version of a Wim Hof. If you ever heard of Wim Hof breathing, it's definitely a tunnel to go down.
Okay.
But um, breath work and be conscious of what you're saying to yourself.
Words are very powerful.
That is absolute. Like I know people who just get up and start cussing. Like, okay, well, your uh, your body, you're not your body. Okay,
Yes,
you're not.
just was talking about this other day. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you are a vessel in your body.
yeah,
Okay, and what you're saying is having an effect on you and the Christopher body that you were in, and be conscious of that.
yeah,
So that's
yeah. And I completely agree with everything you're saying. Um, and I would mention just the last thing I mentioned is like give yourself grace too. Like I feel
yeah,
like we're just so hard on ourselves that like a lot of, especially women my age, feel like they have to rush everything. Like, I have to do this, I have to do that. Or like, oh, say they don't have kids and they desire kids. I don't have kids. I'm
yeah.
okay. That's not my desire. But they're like, oh my goodness, I'm 35. I don't know what to do. I'm single. I haven't had kids. My clock is ticking, or I'm 40 years old. And it's like it like
And
it like
where do you think
it's
that
a
person is mentally
exact
right there?
yeah, like if you keep telling yourself this,
Yeah,
like you're not like, you're not, you have to be open to receiving what's for you at your time.
right.
You know what I mean? Maybe all the women in your family had kids young. That was their time.
Yes.
And maybe God was like, look, I need you to just relax. It's all on my timing anyways. Like, you know what I mean?
And on the
Divine
same
timing.
note, yeah, you're not on the vibe. If you want to get into this, the
Yep.
vibration of
You're not on a high, that's
uh,
a low
on
vibrational.
if you were
Yeah.
gonna meet somebody, you don't want somebody down here with your want and need and desperation,
Yeah.
and it, that's not compatible. I mean,
Exactly.
well, it's not compatible for long, and
Yeah.
you need to be able to. Like I've been happy being single. I'm open to a relationship, but I am not dying to
Yeah.
get into one. And we talked
You gotta
about this.
love
Yeah.
yourself for you have to spend a lot of time with yourself first, have a relationship with yourself
Right.
before you can have a relationship with anybody else.
And not everybody is fixed, but if you are
Yeah.
not working on yourself, to better yourself. And I will not be with a woman who is not into working on themselves.
Yeah.
And I am not a crash on the couch every night after TV. Let's go and talk. Let's go in the backyard and light the fire or whatever
Yeah.
and go, when I lived in California, if I was going to go on a date, her and I were going to go to Disneyland and we are going to stand in every line and we are going to talk. Okay?
Me, I'm paying for that fast pass.
Well,
I can talk to my husband in the car
right.
or at home.
But
I get it. You're on a date.
We are getting to know each other.
Yeah.
And I don't care.
I'll pay those extra $30. But go
ahead. Right. And I have no problem turn off, like, okay, movie date. Yes, okay, that's nice. Yeah. But if we are going to get a dinner, we are going to be sitting there. If we're going to like each other, we're going to be sitting there for a couple hours talking and getting to know each other. I mean, that's just going to be me. Mm-hmm. Because I know we've talked about myself most of the time, but I want to know about her.
Exactly.
And I want to know what her goals are. If you don't have goals, like if your goal is just go to work and come home and maybe own a house or this, that is a limited aspect.
That's a limited belief.
Like
I believe I can have way more than just that.
And if you put that on the table, that's your goal. That's fine. But that person is not going to be for me.
Exactly. Yeah. So. No, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Of course, I personally want to thank you for honestly being my first episode that is going to be coming out. I mentioned before, this has been a couple years in the making. I started my podcast a couple years ago, did some episodes, and again, where I was and who I interviewed at those times, one, they're not even in my life, except for my brother. I did one episode with my brother. And two, those people aren't even in my life. Haven't heard from them. They don't check on me. I just, it is what it is. And as I mentioned before, I prayed and, God just told me, take your time, Ashley. Just like the advice I would give to other women, take your time. You don't need to do everything at once. And, fast forward, again, just randomly meeting you at the gym and being like him. Not even just on a podcast. Like, I didn't even think about that until maybe our third conversation.
Really?
You know what I mean? Yeah, I was just like, wait, we're talking about natural medicine and healing, and then men's mental health, which is going to be another episode. Like, this is amazing. Thank you, God. Like, this is what I've been praying for. So I appreciate you. I'm pretty sure the audience will appreciate you.
Thank you.
And again, this is just one episode of, I'm pretty sure, many out of you and I. And thank you. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And again, like I mentioned, this is most likely going to be episode 1 of many episodes here with Chris. And I'm excited to have you come back and tell us more about yourself.
Thank you.
I love it. So thank you guys for tuning in to Realfine Hotline, and we will see you guys next episode. I always say toodles.
Thank you.
Toodles.